mandatory or optional. Then, sometimes for better understanding, you can write down, it's not attribute, okay? Attribute is always a circle, but we can use a job type to classify the subclass. Then you can add the value of secretary of job type and the technician of job type, and it's additional information. This one will not be used for database attribute, but for better understanding, we can add. Okay, so let's use this one. Let me down a little bit. In this ER diagram, this is an ER diagram, enhanced because we have such a circle like that. How many entities can you find? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First employee. 1, 2, 3. Secretary is the entity or not? No, it's a class of that employee. So now, what about manager? It's not. It's still you can see this one. There's no diamond. Okay? So it's a subclass. Project is the entity. And trade union is the entity. So total 3 entities. Okay. Then how many disjoint super and so first, how many super and subclasses relationship? 1. This is 1 and 2 and 3. Okay. So this is also super and how many subclass? 1 subclass. At that time, is it disjoint or overlap? We don't have to because it's 1 subclass. It's automatically disjoint and it doesn't matter overlap. So that's the reason it's not represented. But it's optional. Not all employee are manager. Okay? So this is a 3. Then how many full participants? Mandatory. 1. Salaried or hourly. Okay. Another important thing is you can create the relationship with subclass. That may be possible. So that is the reason we can create such an ER diagram. Okay, so today I'm going to stop here. Okay, and we will have the exercise. So this is a pretty much extended ER diagram. Next, homework. If you miss the homework, by next class, please draw the ER diagram of the company. Okay? Plus this ER diagram. Okay? By combining. Why don't you combine? So this. Forget about this part. Only employee this. Like where is it? So this. So why don't you create the ER diagram by adding these subclasses by next week? If you already submit, it's okay. So if you already submit, so you are done. But if you didn't submit today, so this one, then add the subclasses to here. Make sense? A little bit additional homework, those who missed. Okay, so by Monday, right? It's a full year practice. Okay? Yes?
About subclass.
Why don't you tell it?
We can know this information from the relationship between the employee and department.
Yeah, this is separate from this one. It's not the same. Okay, additional information. If we have additional information, we are able to create such a thing. For example, here, the previous example, we don't have the secretary. Okay?
So why we use subclass?
Why? Because, so for example, your customer asks, I'd like to manage a secretary, technician, engineer. He or she never mentioned about the employees. So you can create the 3 entities, right? If you create the 3 entities, you will realize that a lot of information are common as an employee. At that time, you can create 1 employee. If you create 1 employee, what's the problem? you need to create the attribute typing speed, T-grade, and engineering type, not always used. Okay? Because of that, we can design such a way.
So we have to do like that. And
Not have to do is your decision.
Mm-hmm.
By considering requirement, by considering your application, by considering the other bunch of
So
things.
you will not grade us on, we not follow like this in the project.
In your project, if you read the carefully requirement, you need to have the intentionally create the generalization and specialization case. Okay. Another last thing, what if when we create the database, relational database, we don't use this one. Why? Relational database is not object-oriented concept. There is no way to represent this kind of thing. You can pull up. You have the this one. You have this. The what? Yeah. Any other question? So next class we will little bit give the additional information regarding to the ER, then continue to the next chapter.
Hi everyone, I believe we got installed the ER software. I sent the link yesterday. So today we are going to do data modeling using the the Elwin software. So today we are going to practice the sales database. So for the sales database, we have about 5 different entities. We have customers, vendor, product, order, and other items. So today we will practice creating a ER diagram using the Elwin software. So this is how the interface looks like. Can we all launch our Elwin?
If you do not complete everything, give the homework to finish. Okay, pattern and summary.
Okay.
Do you want? Okay.
So can we all launch our Elwin software? Do we have it installed? If you don't have it installed, you can join with your friend just for this exercise lab. So you can follow the steps, then later when you get home, you can practice by yourself. Okay? So if you don't have it installed, sit with somebody that have it installed so you can practice. Okay? So if you look at your manual, your lab manual, you start the Elwin data modeler, then you go to the setup design page. You start by creating a new model. You go from files and create new. So you can go to file from here, click on new. So you should have a pop-up window like this that will show you the new model. So let's look at the configuration that we need to set. So you need to select logical or physical for the new model type. Then select Oracle 10.x for your target database. Are we all there? Just follow the steps. So even if you don't have it installed already, you can practice later on your own when you get home. So we are selecting logical, and here you can leave that one blank and click OK. You select logical or physical. So this is the ideal one. Then for this, you can select Oracle. You can select Oracle 10G. This one is. Then this you can just leave as default and click OK. So you have a canvas like this. So you should be able to create your ER diagram. So let's follow the lab manual. So if you are done with the first step, you move on to the second step. For the second step, you have to select the level of the detail in the display as follows. So all these ones we are doing are just the basic configuration. So you have. So select the level of details as follows. From the format menu, you have to choose entity display and uncheck foreign key designator. So let's go. So we have to go to format menu. It depends on the version you have. For this one, I have the model. I'm not seeing any format. Really? So it depends on the version you have. This is the old version. If you have the older version, you need to do all this setup. So for this one, we just go straight to the next step. So let's go to the next step.
What do we do if we have older version?
If you have the older version, you have to follow your manual to configure all these configuration settings. Just follow it step by step. If you follow it step by step, you have to pick all the options that is being highlighted in your manual. But if you have the newer version, you just go straight to the next step, which is A2, creating a new entity. So that's where we'll start now, because I'm using the newer version. So I don't have all these older, I don't have to set up all these configurations. So let's try creating an entity customized. So you you look for the icon for the entity. This is the icon for entity. So you just pick it, come to the canvas, you just tab on it. You should have something like this. So you should be able to label this. So I've created a new entity, customers. Let's go back to the manual. So you can see, follow the manual step by step. So once you create the customer entity, you always have the default name, which is E, E1, E2. So whatever you have, you now rename it to the entity you are trying to create, which is what I've just done. I've created customers. Assuming you have an existing entity, you can, if you want to modify it, you can right click on it and change the name. But now let's go to setting up the entity's property. So what you need to do is you right click and go to entity properties. So let's go back. So I'm going to right click now. So if you right click, you should have a screen like this. Entity properties, click on it. So you can see it will give you the name of the entity you just created. So you can see some tabs with different configurations, style, icon. So for now we don't need all this. So let's follow our manual and see what we need to do. So if you double click on it, it should bring up another pop-up like this. I think for different versions, for the new version, this is the screen I have. For the old version, you will have something similar to what we have here. So it depends on the version that you have. This is the old version. So you can add attributes to the customer. Let's try adding attributes to the customer. So what we need to do is to press the tab key to highlight the primary key box, enter the name of the primary key attribute. Assuming we want to create, let's say, customer ID. So let's go back to the canvas. Let's close this one. So here you right click and go to attribute property. So from here you can enter. So I've created the customer ID, so you
Can you repeat?
so all you need to do is just come here. Okay, let me do it on the second line so you can see what I did. So you come here, you click. Let me remove this and do it all the way. So I've deleted. So what all you need to do is to come here, you double click, or you can use the tab key. Use the tab key. If you use the tab key, it's easier. So it will give you a space where you can create your attributes. So I want to create customer ID. So you just type it out. And when you are done, you just come out and click the outside of the canvas. So you should have something like this. Let's go back to the manual and see what we need to set. You can create more. We have the customer ID, customer name, address, city, state, zip, country, and contact and email. You can create as many. Once you have the basic idea, you'll be able to create. Also, don't forget you can set properties on your on what you've created, like the customer ID now, assuming you want it to be the primary key. You can see in your manual, there's an icon showing the key, showing that the customer ID is the primary key, which means it is unique for that particular entity. Two customers cannot have the same customer ID. So that is what that key is saying. So let's try and do that. Let's try and make our customer ID the primary key attribute. So let's go back. So when you come here, all you need to do is go to the attribute. You will see different options that you can select the data type. Is it number? Is it date time? So assuming it's number, you can pick that it's number. You have different data type here. You can select if it is integer. So let's try and make it the primary key. You can see there's the primary key checkbox here. So all you need to do is to check it. Once you check it, you can see the key. There's a key beside it, showing you that the customer ID is the primary key. So just click close, I think automatically, but it's not showing. I want it to show the key. So there's a way you can set the box to There's a way you can set it to show on the canvas. If you want that primary, just to indicate that that's the primary key. So let's try and enter more attributes, customer name and address. Use the tab key. When you use the tab key, it's easier. Customer address. It should allow me to create more field. If you want to enter more attributes. Press escape to create added attributes. So you just need to follow the manual. Once you follow the manual, it's very easy. You can easily do it on your own. You can't create everything here.
Okay.
So it's like once you are done with adding all your attributes, you can press the escape key to create. Then you can also, let's go to step 3, add the data type for each of the attributes. So all you need to do is right click on the entity and select attributes. So let's try that. When the attribute window opens, select the attribute to edit and choose the data type. You should have something like this. It depends on the version you have. think we did that already. So you can select the data type, number, so to give you this. We've done that already. You can do same for customer address. You can see that is string, which is versatile. You can change, if you want the size to be bigger, you can make it 50. Doing that so you can do that for all the attributes. So for step 3, we will try to make relationship. For us to be able to create relationship, we need 2 entities. We've only created one, so you can create, like for example, the customer database, you can create the other entity and the other item. Then you'll be able to relate, maybe create a relationship between the 2 entities. In this particular example we have. You can see this is what you have when you have 2 different entities. You can create the order and other item. So let's go back to Canvas and try to do that. Let's create a new entity. So this is the icon for creating your entity. You can see to give you, because I'm creating the second one now, it's giving me E2. So all you need to do is to change the default name. Let's assume it's order. Okay. Assuming this is my order. So we have orders and other items. Let me delete this and do it. I'll delete and do it all over again. Create another one. Call down another item. Then you can create the attributes. Let's see what we have. We have order date, order number, we have order item. Use the tab. It's easier when you use the tab. The tab will give you that option. Create as many attributes as you like. For this one, we have order item, product ID. You have something like this. Let me make it bigger so you can see very well. So I've created 2 different entities, the orders and the order item. Now I'm trying to create a relationship between the 2. So you can see the order number will be the same thing as the order ID. But we have 2 different, it's just like, it's still you are referring to the same number. but with a different name in a different entity. So when you, maybe like now you order something online, your order ID, maybe on the entity side is known as the order ID. Maybe in another table is known as order number, but the value is still the same thing. You understand? Now you can now create like a relationship between the two. Let's go back to our manual. So that's what this screen is trying to show us. We have the order entity, we have the order item. But you can now create a relationship between these two. Because we have this like a field here, which is the same thing as it. So you can easily relate the two entities together. So all you need to do that is, if you follow from the beginning, add a relationship between the order and the order item. Assuming the order is the parent entity and the order item is the child entity. All you need to do you want to create a one-to-end relationship. That is one-to-many, non-identifying relationship. There's an icon that shows something like this on the two bar. That's what we need to pick. This very one. You select it. You first select the parent entity first. Then you select the child entity. You select first the icon. Then you click on the parent entity first, then you now click on the child entity. So let's walk back and look for that icon. So we have the icon. This is the icon here. So the non-identifying relationship. You click on it. So this is our parent entity. So I click on this one. And this is our child entity. I click on it. So if you have something like this, if you have something like this, so if you follow all the steps are detailed in your manual, you can always practice when you get back home. Create more attributes for different entities you create, and also create relationships. So for me, this particular screen doesn't apply because the name I have in my parent entity is different from the name I have in the child entity. Assuming I have the same name, there will be like a conflict. This is what I'm trying to